Good Thursday morning to you all. We got another Watchmen update. We got some big news out there. Grocery store managers sharing warnings as Keystone beef prices explode suddenly and produce suddenly disappears. We got a former FBI director about to be arrested. This is big news out there. And heads will roll at the United Nations for the triple sabotage of President Trump just on Sunday. We got another cartel being labeled a foreign terrorist organization, and Houthis hit a Israeli hotel in Israel. Dozens injured, and a major attack on a federal building ends in tragedy. That and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. Hopefully you guys got your coffee and you're ready and buckled up for what's coming. If you have anything to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts to get out of stocks and bonds. If you don't want to be in risky things and you want to get into precious metals that are becoming more precious by the day, you can find out more at the end of the video. There'll be a link. You just fill that out, and they'll get in contact with you and answer your questions. All right, friends, let's start off here in Israel. Israel is considering shutting down France's Jerusalem consulate after the French government have moved to recognize Palestine as a country. Now, the Israeli government has informed the French government that they plan on closing this. The French consulate has been used in Jerusalem, has been used for diplomatic relations and services for Palestinians in the West Bank, as well as, so basically they're shutting down the Palestinian consulate from the French. French President Macron, not liking that at all, warns Israel that doing so would be a, quote, major error, and that there would be retaliation, including possibly closing the Israeli embassy in Paris. So we're not talking about small stuff here. And in southern Israel, a Houthi flying drone slammed into the courtyard of a hotel in southern Israel, wounding over 20 people. Blew out windows in the explosion. Air defense sirens did sound, but two Iron Dome interceptors failed to connect with the low-flying drone. It was slow-moving and low-flying, and some people are speculating that that is what made it hard to hit. The Israeli defense minister already vowing retaliation, promising a seven-fold retaliation to those who harm Israelis. We will probably be seeing airstrikes or missile strikes on Yemen shortly. The United States has designated the El Salvador-based gang Barrio 18 a foreign terrorist organization, joining the list of other cartels that have been injuring and maiming Americans for many years. This is part of President Trump's crackdown on drug trafficking, and also those gangs that are engaged in criminal, violent activities. A targeted attack on an ICE facility in Dallas yesterday. Multiple people were hit. One officer didn't make it, and two more in critical condition as of the shooting of this video. Far leftist Joshua John opened fire from an elevated position and used high caliber to pierce their body armor. He then himself and President Trump is already stating that he will be signing an executive order, not only monitoring and going after domestic terrorist organizations, but also starting to dismantle groups like Antifa. This guy was absolutely one of those who was radicalized by the mainstream media and by online groups. Clearly a leftist from his social media postings and from what he wrote on the casings. This was targeted against those officers, and this is inflamed by a lot of the commentary by leftists online and on the air. MSNBC, a very reliable news source usually, I say that sarcastically. They do seem to be saying this, and it does seem to make sense, that James Comey, former FBI director, will be indicted within the next few days. Now, the statute of limitations is coming up next week, and so this is looking like it may happen. This is due to his lying to Congress during his September 2020 testimony about Russia. Yeah, all that. He just flat out lied to Congress, and this is him being held to account. Now, one has to ask the question: will federal agents kick in his front door in a dawn raid in front of media cameras rolling? Because this is how Comey very much liked to deal with his political opponents, and he did that to numerous political opponents over the years, including sending the FBI to raid Mar-a-Lago with agents ordered to open fire even on Secret Service agents if there was any resistance whatsoever. The fact that they went in with their flak vests on and did not notify Secret Service before they arrived almost seemed like they were looking for a confrontation. And of course, all the stuff that they did while they were there is a whole nother story. U.S. Secret Service, speaking of them, is now investigating the apparent UN sabotage of President Trump's escalator, his microphone, and his teleprompter. President Trump went to give a speech on Sunday, and apparently, we're now finding this out, but apparently the UN staff were joking before this happened, and this is reported in the Times, that they were going to shut down his escalator and then make him walk because they were out of money. This shows intent, coordination, and conspiracy. Now, while none of these actions posed any apparent safety risk, at least at first glance, it is troubling. Now, some people are pointing to the fact that them shutting down his escalator at a pre-appointed moment, freezing him in place in a confined space, boxed in, should have had Secret Service freaking out. Because what would happen if that was organized in order to stop him in place, to box him in for an attack? So Secret Service is getting involved with that and looking into this. U.S. Press Secretary Catherine Leavitt saying basically that any staffers involved in this at the UN will be held accountable for this. UN claiming that the emergency stop button was accidentally pressed by one of the Trump administration personnel. Now that does not seem to be accurate, but we'll see. We'll see what the investigation brings out. France has, not only are they picking a fight with Israel, which is a really, really bad idea on their part. I mean, if they surrender to all sorts of third world countries like Mali, I don't think that or Niger, I don't think that they should be picking a fight with Israel because they can't handle that. But France is fighting other countries like Spain and Germany over the next generation combat aircraft. Now, they did such a fantastic job on the last round of the Eurofighter. Wow. Let's just say the Eurofighter is comparable to some older Chinese and older Russian design aircraft. Was that harsh? Yeah, that was pretty harsh. Anyway, definitely does not compare to American warplanes. But France is in negotiations with Germany and Spain, but saying that if those talks break down, France will go it alone and build their own next-generation combat aircraft. Good luck with that, France. Good luck with that. The United States, on the other hand, has just announced that we have begun manufacturing of the F-47. That is the next-generation fighter jet that is to replace the F-22. They're hoping to have the first one flying in 2028. The project was scrapped during the Biden administration and was dusted off and put back into production as early as January this year, and all stops are being pulled out to build a more sophisticated next-generation aircraft that will be designed from the ground up to cooperate with wingmen, with unmanned aircraft wingmen, to engage enemies and completely dominate airspace. A new trend on social media is pretty disturbing. Pregnant women taking Tylenol on camera, just despite President Trump or something like that, which opens a tragic but interesting question. You know, will these videos be able to be used later on, years later, as evidence in court that these mothers knowingly harmed their children? Whatever you want to say about President Trump and RFK, this is pretty clear that Tylenol should not really be taken during pregnancy. Tylenol Twitter itself stated this in March 7th, 2017. They were responding to a person making comments about whether they should be taking it during pregnancy. Tylenol's Twitter account said, "We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today." Johns Hopkins, Harvard, and 46 peer-reviewed studies before President Trump and RFK said a single word, all kind of pointed to the same kind of thing, making it seem more like this is like Q-tips, people sticking Q-tips in their ears. Everybody knows you shouldn't do it, but people just kind of keep doing it anyway, and they want to just pretend like it's not going to harm them. Well, the United States Health and Human Services Department out there stating very clearly and unequivocally, please think twice before taking Tylenol while pregnant. Demi says, the family doctor told me to start eating healthy foods instead of unhealthy snacks. This is in North Carolina, which is obviously good advice. So I went to buy broccoli and cauliflower and vegetables at Food Lion, but there was none. The other items on my list almost doubled my grocery budget. It sure is expensive to eat healthy. Ain't that the truth? Survivalist Grandpa says the beef crisis has hit Keystone beef. At my local Walmart here in southwest Missouri, the price of a large can of Keystone ground beef went from $8.82 to $10.58, almost $2 full up. I expect it will go higher in the near future. I got online and I checked what was going on here in Pennsylvania. Regular beef from Keystone is now $11.83. It used to be like $9.50 or so last I checked. So that's a big jump of over $2 here in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. Jody says Keystone roast beef went from $9.83 to $11.83 in a few hours. That's $2 up right there. So this is apparently a thing that's happening. So if you need Keystone ground beef or Keystone beef or even other products like pork, you might want to go out to the store and check the price on it. If your prices haven't gone up yet at your store, you might want to stock up because it looks like this price shift is happening as we speak. So if you want to be ahead of this, please get ahead of it right now. Renee says, several months ago, the great value eggs in my mid-Michigan Walmart started going bad much quicker than they used to. Therefore, I switched to paying a little bit more to Eggland's Best eggs. They lasted much longer before going bad. Now, Walmart began to put all of their Eggland's Best eggs on the top shelf, which is not where you should put eggs because, of course, it's warmer at the top shelf, right? And started spraying them with water. Also not a good idea. Now, they are not lasting as long either. I started buying Eggland's Best eggs at another store, and they are keeping perfect. Why would Walmart start spraying perfectly good eggs? It's a good question. Someone should ask Walmart, shouldn't they? Right? So be aware. of how long your food's lasting and why and where it's coming from. This used to be stuff where the stores would take care of this stuff. Now we have to take care of it ourselves. Fawn says nearby at Walmart no longer shows the customer prices as they scan, nor do they show a total amount due. It's not visible when using your card. I asked about their new system, and the cashier said, we're in control of all of that now. I asked, if the prices in the system don't match the shelves, what if that happens? She was nonplussed. The lady next to me asked, how do I know what you're charging my English muffins today? And the question is, are they trying to push us into self-checkout, or are they going for control? The answer is, they don't like people asking questions. It slows everything down. People looking at the prices. How does that help Walmart? It doesn't help Walmart. So if they can get away with making it so that you don't have as much information, then they can jack the prices up on you, and you just kind of smile and take it. Are we going to smile and take it? You might want to complain about that if you see the same thing at Walmart. Throw a hissy. Just do it. Throw a hissy. Ask for a manager. We got to stand together on this. Listen, self-checkout is a pain, and I get that a lot of people don't like self-checkouts, but them not showing you the price while they scan, that's a big issue, because we know that they get things wrong all the time. Jones says, no robins or hummingbirds since June here. Only crows have returned and yellow monarchs. Something I haven't seen in over 30 years are raccoons coming onto the covered deck and eating my cat's food. They're desperate. Food is short for animals out there. The ecosystem has changed. West Zona says, prices already exploding here in Arizona. I can't go to buy a few things without spending $10 to $20. Time to start using more food storage. Charlene says, my son and I live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We moved to another area of Lancaster about a month ago. My son takes walks every day, and we haven't seen any birds or squirrels where we now live. They were limited where we lived before, but there is nothing here, which is a little disturbing. This used to be farmland, so you would think that there would be something. Also, one day, my son and I were out running errands, going to a doctor's appointment, and said, oh, the geese are flying south for winter. The weird part is there might have been maybe 30 at most. Then the geese turned around, which I'd never seen. It's like they are confused. Where are all these geese? Where are all the geese, and why are they suddenly going the wrong direction? Is anyone else noticing this? We went to a giant store to pick up Fairlife milk, and we've noticed that it's been hit or miss with getting it. I asked the store manager why that was, and he said, production issues. Yeah, that's right. Milk is having production issues, apparently. Kenneth says, while coming back from a mission trip to Kenya in Atlanta, coming home to Memphis, we were expecting a long line in immigration as usual. An officer waved us up, had us look into the camera, and it flashed verified. We had no idea that we had just gone through retinal verification. Made it through Atlanta, one of the busiest in the world, in 30 minutes. Somehow we ended up in their database. Friends, yeah, they're all moving that way. Biometrics, you have like no rights whatsoever when it comes to coming through immigration, for sure. Chicken Patty says, I was recently in the market for some much needed jeans, pants. Clothes were on sale for back to school, but jean prices remained high. I decided to check out Tractor Supply Company because I bought lined jeans there a few years ago, and they were cheap, but really nice, and they held up well. I found some Blue Mountain jeans for $14.99 for regular price, men and women's styles. I ordered 3 pairs. First thing I noticed was how heavy they were. Jeans have gotten really thin out there at most stores with the climate change agreements to make them thin so that they dry faster. I also tried the fit. The fit was perfect with a little extra room to grow, though I don't plan on growing, they say. The back pocket holds my wallet well. I wouldn't recommend Tractor Supply feed for any animal, but I highly recommend their jeans for price and quality. All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold about what you can do with your retirement account, there's a link right there on the screen. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.